Okay, so I will have to erase all these. Okay, so what we will do is, let's look at karma outside in. That means karma is generating, right? We are looking at it from where it's generated and go outside in, and then we look at the karma, and then we look at the causes, and then we go back, to whatever multiple of causes, all of those things, and then look at all the other connections, right? We'll do that. So for that, what is the locus of karma? Yeah, but individual, right? So the karma starts with an individual, right? So machines, whatever machines do or whatever animals do, it's not considered karma because there's no intention behind it, right? Karma is synonymous in the philosophical context with intention, desire, right? Animals don't have it. Animals don't have the desire, kind of desire that we call karma, but they don't have. They have different desires. But what the people, the karma is generated only by human beings, not by animals, not by machines, right? In a language sense, yeah, they do have actions, but they don't have the spiritual or the philosophical concept called karma. There are two karmas. One is bare actions, and the other one is philosophical concept of karma, and that is what we are talking about. Not just actions, but actions with desires and intentions, which is only generated by human beings and nobody else. Okay? So the locus of karma is, probably I'll go from here to here. So this is, locus of karma is an individual. Okay? How many kinds of expressions? Karma is an expression, right? It's a channeling. How many of those different kinds of karma are possible? No, that's fine. Let's leave the judgment of it away. But just how many different kinds of actions are possible in man? Right? 3 kinds, or you can say 5 kinds, or even 6 kinds. Okay? So if you look at a comprehensive picture, let's say there are 6 kinds of, or 6 channels in which karma can be expressed. What are those 6 channels?
You can think good or bad. That is one karma.
Right. Okay. Let me put it this way. Okay. This is the individual. Okay. Let me do this. Actually, let me do this, and then do this. Six.
You can do something mental.
Mental intentions or desire are what? Manasika karma. Okay? So I will say it is M. Mental. Okay? Then?
Actual, physically, you do it. You hit somebody.
Yeah. So that means how many bhutas, how many elements are there? How many bhutas are there? Pancha bhutas, right?
Yeah.
Space, ether, air, Vayu, Agni, fire, Jala, water, and then Prithvi, earth. The words earth and water, they are an instance of where those elements are in abundance. So when they say before creation there were 5 elements, it doesn't mean water was there. Right? Water has the quality of the element of Jala in abundance. So water is an instance of the element. We're not talking about water, but a quality that water carries. The same way with earth, because if all of the universe is made up of Prithvi Tattva, that means earth element is there everywhere. Earth is not there everywhere, right? It means the quality which the earth carries, right? That quality is called Prithvi Tattva, that is expressed in earth, in the solid earth, right? In abundance, and that quality is there everywhere in the universe, right? There are 5 of them. What are those 5? I said Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. Right? So these 5 bhutas corresponds to 5 tanmatras or qualities, right? The quality of sound, the quality of touch, the quality of sight, the quality of taste, the quality of smell. 5 of them. 5 generate 5 sense organs. Right? What are those 5 sense organs? For space it's ears, because it's the Shabda Tanmatra. Then touch is what? Skin. Sight is eyes, sense organ. Then taste is tongue. Smell is nose. So there's 5. You cannot have a 6th sense organ. Why? Because there are only 5 elements, and we have each sense organs sense that element. If there was a 6th element, you could have had a 6th sense organ. Okay? But there is a 6th sense also. Manas is the 6th sense. The mind is the 6th sense. Because how do you sense time? You cannot smell, taste, nothing, right? Time. It's manas. How do you sense space? It's manas. So manas is actually both a sense organ as well as an organ of action. Because it desires, it plans, so it is an organ of action, right? And then it can sense time, it can sense space and all of those intuitive things it can sense, pain, pleasure and all of those things. That becomes the 6th sense organ. So there are 5 senses, and there cannot be more than 5 senses because there are only 5 elements. And the 6th one is manas, because all of those, like space and time are sensed by manas. Okay? So, corresponding to the 5 sense organs, there are 5 organs of expression or 5 organs of actions. What are those? For the Shabda, sense organ is ear. What is the organ of action for that? Voice, right? Vocal. So that is vocal. So that these are the Pancha Indriyas that I'm talking about. Pancha Karmendriyas. So I'll put that as voice, V. Okay? And then for sense of touch, I said the sense organ is skin. What's the organ of action? No, organ of feel is a feeling. Touch is the sense. But what is the expression for that? Corresponding expression. Organ of expression, rather.
Hands.
Hands, right? Primarily, these are the expressions of touch. Right? So there is hand, okay? And then sight is eyes. What is the corresponding organ of action? Seeing is sensing. Expression. Legs. Legs are organs of expression, action. You cannot act through the eyes, right? You see and act through the legs. So your legs are the organs of expression, organs of action. Right? Pancha.
How does this thing help?
We will see.
Yeah, because you said legs, but you can see and then act with your hands also.
You can. No, it is. You can act with your hands, but when you're acting through the hands, you're expressing the sense of touch rather than the sense of the fire, which is only locomotion. I mean, any of those things are possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To say in the narrow sense, this. I mean,
No, it is corresponding. I mean, you can look at the thing and also smell and taste it simultaneously. But, it is only telling you that these are different elements. Right? So, Agni or fire element is expressed through man as an action through the legs, through locomotion. Right? That's sight and locomotion are connected to the element of Agni. Right? That's the both. And then, what is Jala, water? It's organ of sense. Or quality is what? Taste. Organ of sense is tongue. Right? Organ of action is genitals. So it is an organ. That means desire comes where Jala comes. Right? So this is genitals. And then finally Prithvi Tattva. What is the quality it brings? Quality of smell. Organ of senses, nose. Organ of action is, where does Prithvi Tattva go? Excretely. Right? So basically, five of these are the 5 organs of, that's what, it's called Karmendriyas. Karmendriyas means these 5. These 5 are Karmendriyas. Voice, hands, legs, genitals, and excretory. These are the 5 Pancha Karmendriyas. Okay? Pancha Jnanendriyas corresponding to them are, ears, skin, and then the light is eyes, and tongue, and nose. So 5 plus 5, 10. And finally, mind is both an organ of sense as well as an organ of expression. So basically, there are 11 sense organs, 11 organs of which 5 sense organs, 5 organs of actions, and 1 which is both a sense organ as well as organ of action. Okay? So how many ways of expression are possible? 6 ways. Right? Now this is grouped into 3 groups. Right? This is called what? Every mental expression is what? Manasika kriya, right? Thoughts, words and deeds. That's what you say, right? Manasika, Vachika, Daihika. Right? That you can express through thoughts, express through words, express through deeds. Right? Manasa, Vacha, Daihika. So these are 3 of them. So this is how expression is possible, right? So these are 3 groups of vocal, bodily, and mental. Right? Let's not worry about this. Again, I'll tell you about this. Okay? So now, how many possible ways of expressing? 6 possible ways. 6 channels of expression grouped in 3 groups of what? Manasa, Vacha, Daihika. Right? Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, they say, right? This is Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. So 3 groups of expression. Okay? So now here we are looking in to this individual, right? And then we see expressions possible this way. Okay? Now, actually, if you go a little one level behind that, every karma is first an expression in the manas, then expressed in the voice as well or body. Correct? So everything is first expressed in the mind first, right? As a desire, and that desire becomes expressed through the voice or expressed through the body, right? If it's expressed through the voice, then it becomes vocal or vacha. If it's expressed through the body, it becomes daihika. If it is not expressed, but it's just a desire in the mind, then it becomes manasika, right? Every kriya is always a manasika kriya. But if it finds an expression, it becomes a vachika, daihika kriya. So this is one more level behind. So now you have the individual who is doing all this stuff. Okay? Now let's look at this part. How are these 3 caused? Right? There are 3 causes to this. There are 3 causes to every action.
One is there is an action opposite that is seen.
Do this. What's that?
Somebody has acted, so you're reacting.
No. 3 causes.
Environment.
Okay, but it all comes under one heading. No, that's fine. A desire is here. Let's say desire is here. Okay?
Causes of action is desire.
Yes, which is here. Cause of the desire. I'm talking about that which caused the desire. Okay? So that we are at that level.
Inspiration.
Okay, what is inspiration?
Need.
It's all here. Need, want, likes, desire, everything is here. What is causing them? So the individual, see, all the actions are because of needs, wants, likes, dislikes, hate, everything, all of those things, they're all at this level, at the individual level. I'm going behind that individual. I'm looking at the cause of those likes, dislikes, wants, desires, all of those things.
Is it vasanas?
Vasanas. But those vasanas means that which it's carried over to you, but they're carried over in 3 senses. What are those? We have learned this in the Upanishad class, and I think even in one of the Gita classes. 3 causes to every action.
Your previous karma, your current one.
No. Okay, your previous karma, right? So that what is it called? Daiva.
Deva.
Tapatraya is it?
Right. No, tapatraya is 3 3 environments in which you live always. But Daiva, right? The other one is Purushakara. Purushakara. And Hata or Swabhava. Okay, so there are always 3 causes to every action that you act. Okay, what is this? Daiva. What is Daiva?
Stars.
Yeah, but actually when you say luck, stars, luck, and all of no, yes, Prarabdha is there. Prarabdha cause is there. But what does Daiva mean? That which you do not control, but that which is given is what? Daiva. That means the circumstance in which you are born, where you are born, which natural environment you are born, which society you are born into, what are your likes, dislikes, what is the friendship circle you will be in, what are the people, kind of people you will come across in your life. Everything you don't control. These are all given. That means these things happen to you. You are not cause of it. Things happen. You are not cause of it. That means every circumstance in which you were born, you were educated, you live in, natural world, society, that's what those two domains are, right? In the Tapatriya, the two domains are those things. Society in which we live and the natural world in which we live, as well as the body. Abilities, disabilities, all of those things, they come to us. It's all given to us. These are all kind of things it's a wealth. It's given to you. These are the things you have to work with, right? That is what Daiva is. And this is what, usually you call this as fate. That which you don't control, but that which is given is fate. Okay? That is one cause. Simultaneous, these are all simultaneous causes. Purushakara. What is Purushakara?
Means the effort or...
Exactly. This is, in Western philosophical concept, it's called free will. In Indian, it's called Purushakara, or human effort, right? Which does not come bestowed by your previous actions. So this you can say, human effort.
Even that is modified or modulated by your...
That's why I'm putting all the three simultaneously, right? I'll give you an example.
Why not everybody can get 100%? Even though they put the same effort.
Exactly, yeah, right. And
You
what
cannot
is...
you cannot be able to put the same effort like any other. Everybody can't put the same level of...
Yeah, how much effort you put and all of them, what fruits you get from those efforts, everything is the consequences which we don't control, right? So, in all these aspects, what are the things that we control? Effort, right? Okay, then I'll link it to here. What is that here? And then what is hata?
It's
What does literally hata mean? Hat, what is hat? Stubbornness.
Stubbornness, yeah.
That means swabhava. That means it's like this. The tail of the dog is always crooked, right? You can put some gel and straighten it, right? So that means it is straight for some time, but as it wears out, its hata is there always. It will always gravitate to being crooked, right? There's the saying in Indian, I think in all the languages, like dog's tail is always crooked. What does that mean? That means whatever you are, inside will eventually what comes out, right? You can have good karma and then, once that exhausts, you'll eventually gravitate to whatever you are. So that is always there. So this is the thing that basically shows how much you endure in your efforts. Right? Some people give up efforts very easily. Some people endure a lot. That endurance aspect comes from hata. Hata means what you are. Hata means what you are. It means what you bring. It is like those desires that are so much that you do not give up. These are the ones that cause desires here that it will always be enduring, no matter what. That is hata.
Can you change it or you just control?
No, hata. That's what you are. It can be changed. That's what. But the thing is, nobody knows what the hata is, right? It is only known to God, because in the Gita itself, Krishna says in one of the 16th or some chapter to Arjuna, don't worry, you have Daivi Sampat. That means your hata is divine. That means whatever happens to you, you will gravitate back to your divine nature. That means you will always do good stuff. Right? Maybe temporarily you might get into bad company, but within you, you will never take that as you. It probably, temporarily, based on your friend circle and all that, you start to act a different way. But inside you will feel, is that, I don't think it's really me. But then it's very easy to get back to, leaving that, right? That is called as hatha. That means that which endures is hatha. That is your nature, your swabhava. This is not the nature of your personality. It's your innate nature of the jiva that will go across lives, right? So that it's always, that's what you are. So that is your swabhava.
So it's like a bad and good part of the previous karma.
No, that's all here. This is you, right? This is the effort that you can put.
So that's also acquired, right? The hatha is something
No.
that's genetic,
No.
based on your genetic
So
makeup.
everything is here. Your genetic, your social.
The daiva is, okay, let's say it's fate coming from...
No. Even genetic is fate. What you are in personality, what you are in body, abilities, disabilities, everything is here. Social, genetic, natural, your friend circle, every kind of environment that you live in, which is both body, society, and natural world, all the three environments, they're all your daiva, right? So these are three. Okay?
When Shubhava gets generated, how does it generate? I mean,
Swabhava is what you are. It's not generated. It's you are. You are that.
so it's not from the previous. Okay.
So what is coming from previous is all this. Right? What you are always is this. What you can do is this. And all the three of them is always active. So is life fatalistic? In a way, if you do not put your effort, only this is driving. Yes. Life is only effort if you put that effort. Right? And a very great example given in ancient texts is this. It's like a person rowing a boat in an ocean. Right? The wind that is blowing, you want to go somewhere, the wind is actually blowing in the opposite direction. The wind that is blowing that you don't control is this. That means your previous actions are such, they are detrimental to your goals and aspirations in this life. That means the wind is blowing in the opposite direction. You are rowing. Where is that? Purushakara. Whether you row a lot or will you give up because of the wind blowing, where does that come? Right? All the so in the Western world, there's like you ask simple questions like, is life fatalistic, or is free will really free, and all of those things. These are all like part of the karma theory, right? When you look at it in a comprehensive way, every one of them are simultaneously acting on the individual. Right?
But this swabhava, it changes.
I mean, swabhava means, are you saying that the jivas are divided into different swabhavas and then they just carry on for generations?
It's like,
Well, I mean, I thought everybody is like God-like, same.
No, like a mango seed. Can it become a pine tree?
The same species, you're talking about the same
No. Can a mango seed become a pine tree? No, it cannot, right? A mango seed can become a mango tree. That's about it, right? So individuals are unique. That is what individuals are. I mean, you can be a great apple or you can be a great mango, right?
So there's nothing for us to say what is bad and good. We judge them to be bad or depending on the civilization, the times.
I don't know. How does that come in this one?
Swabhava, I mean, what is that?
Swabhava means what endures in you. Which karma endures in you. Right? If you have good swabhava, that means even though you do a lot of bad things, you can actually revert back.
I'm saying even the definition of good and bad changes with times.
No.
I was more relating to age, not so much time. Your swabhava, because if you have a young child, his swabhava is much different.
No. You're talking about personality swabhava. That is different. I'm talking about jiva swabhava. That means what endures. Like your son might have some liking, right? That he will endure no matter what you tell him, right? And it might be a good thing, constructive thing, or might be a very destructive thing, right? Whatever you do does not change it. He will always revert back to that. That becomes the enduring swabhava. That means he will always, whatever you do, you might put him in one thing, but that swabhava is going to take him back.
It's his nature in essence.
Exactly. But not a personality nature.
No.
It's even innate.
Innate nature, which you haven't conquered.
Personality comes here,
The reason I'm trying to, if a guy is a criminal, it doesn't matter if he goes through this psychology of treatment of becoming better. But what you're saying is eventually he's going to be a criminal.
No. See, that's the thing.
That's what he's saying.
See, no. What you're saying, but I'm saying the other thing. And that's what Krishna will say in the 4th chapter. He says, even though one is papa krit tamaha, the worst of the worst, knowledge can actually bring him back. Right? So what is this saying is an acknowledgement that there are individuals who will innately never change. There are individuals who will innately change. Just because somebody is good doesn't mean he will always be good. Just because somebody is bad doesn't mean he will always be bad. So somebody is a criminal, but maybe it's a daiva, his actions in the previous, like Valmiki. What is Valmiki? He wrote Ramayana. What was he before he wrote Ramayana? He was a killer, right? He was a robber, a killer. So then what was he? His good swabhava, his good hata, brought him back, because when he realized what he was doing, he gave up his negative things. And
so hata is not constant.
No, hata is constant.
And it can change momentarily by effort.
Hata is not changing. See, hata is something, it's like 3 forces, correct? One is pulling always like this. There is another one, sometimes it pulls too much, so that individual goes this side, but this one is not always constant. This will give way. Then that force is going to bring him back here, right? So these are all the 3 forces that are always acting. These 2 can be very powerful in ways that can go opposite to what your endurance can be. But endurance is the thing that brings you back to the path of what you are.
So is there a way of knowing by which the person is acting either they
There is no way that we can know. Right? All we can see is here. We can see an individual's actions, and we can deduce the intentions. We don't even know what his intentions are. Right? So it is not for us. I'm just giving you a comprehensive karma theory. Judging good and bad, you cannot do anything with here. There is nothing that you are aware here that you can decide based on. So that is not there. You can only decide based on the actions that are expressed and assume some intentions. So that is what the human justice system.
What's the difference between the personality and the swabhava? How do you differentiate between those?
Personality comes from your previous actions.
No, how do you differentiate?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
Personality is...
somebody here in front of you, how do you differentiate between what is the
You cannot.
personality and what is...
How can you cannot differentiate? You will never know.
Who will differentiate?
even if you know them for
I'll tell you how it gets differentiated. So, okay, hold the thought then. Let me complete the picture this side, and I'll complete the picture this side, and then we can talk probably. Okay.
Give that example again on the wind and the rope.
So, a person is in the ocean, right? And he wants to go. There's a desire in him, right? That is this one. To go somewhere. Okay? He's rowing the boat. The rowing is this one. Effort. Right? The wind is blowing in the opposite direction. That means he's rowing.
He wants to go north, but the wind
Wind is blowing south, and he's going actually
That's
south.
his fate.
That's his fate, right? That is that which he cannot control, but that which is blowing, which is detrimental to his action. Your previous good karmas can put the wind in that direction where you don't even have to row. It will take you. Even you just stand still or sit still in the boat, the wind is in the correct direction in which you desire, right? Again, that is good prarabdha. We will see all that, sir. But look at those things. There is always three actions or three causes. One is the wind blowing, which is your daiva, the fate, the human effort, your rowing, and the endurance of that effort, which is your hatha.
Whether you give up or not.
Whether you give up or not.
Yeah.
It means there is no bad hatha or good hatha. It's always either more hatha or less hatha.
No, it's hatha, that's it. So, it's
Because
endurance.
as you said, nobody knows what's your hatha.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. There is no good or bad, because if only God knows, then
Yeah, nobody knows, correct?
yeah.
Yes,
So it's totally up to your effort,
yes.
because you don't know your hatha, so you might as well just do the
I mean,
effort.
I think
and
the
So you don't even need to know because you will not know,
No,
right?
even the endurance is part of Purushakara, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but not...
How much is
When we are
sustained?
confusing Hatha and Purushakara,
this is effort, but this is
When
the
you take
desire
that change,
that is driving. This is probably the motivation for that effort, right? You can put some effort, and then, if this is overpowering, you will give up, I cannot do anything. That is, your hatha is not there. That means it is innately not in you to reach that. Right? So these three are always acting. So it's neither fatalistic, nor completely free, nor anything. It is always a mingling of these three forces.
I think it's smart not to know your hatha, because then you will never stop it.
No, not to know. You cannot know.
Right, we don't know. That's why it's made like that.
It is always good to assume that you have good hatha, in the sense that you will always revert back to good things.
Yeah.
Like
So
one
you
week
don't
is
stop putting effort, because
Oh,
God has made it this way that you don't know your
yeah. This is not saying.
keep making efforts and
Yeah.
keep making effort, then
Yes.
eventually you will just get
Yes, that's what it is there. And we will see when I complete this side of the picture, then we will understand it. Let me take the question later on. Daiva is caused by what? I'll give three causes here. Okay, it's three. I'll leave the three, but they all come to something here. These are all my previous actions. What is that called? Prarabdha, right? Prarabdha karma. So this is prarabdha karma, right? Prarabdha karma is my previous actions but I have lived infinite lives. I have taken infinite births in the past, right? And so this is the part of what? A bigger treasury of all my actions that I have done in the past. It's called what? Sanchita, right? So this is called Sanchita. Okay? What is Sanchita? Sanchita means all the actions that I have done in my innumerable past that have not been experienced or otherwise burned out till now. That is, what remains of my actions that are unaccounted for is going to be here. And I'll give you one example, and we can connect that to what Krishna is saying in the Gita. If you are born, it means the storehouse here has so much karma that you will be probably born hundreds of millions of times, if not billions of times. That much karma is there here. Right? That is why he is rubbishing Arjuna, who says, what if I stop generating karma? What if I don't act? Shouldn't I be burning out everything? He says, really? This is like a billion lives here, plus whatever you have generated till now is probably some thousands of lives in the future, and you're going to keep quiet like that? You cannot, right? So that is not a practical thing to do, because action is by default, inaction is not, right? So Sanchita has, if you are born, that means there is so much Sanchita storehouse that you have here that is probably going to cause, even if you don't do a thing, stop here, this will probably cause hundreds of millions, if not billions of future lives. That is the amount of desires that are unaccounted for and unexperienced that is there in our Sanchita karma. So anybody who thinks that he can live through all these experiences without generating anything fresh is fooling himself. That is basically what Krishna said when he says, Na karmana anarambhat naishkarmyam purushaha ashnute. That is, I think, third or fourth sloka. Right? So, you cannot keep quiet and actually burn your previous karmas and become a mukta. Liberation or freedom from births and deaths is not possible by keeping quiet. You cannot. Right? Why is that? That's because of this. That's the Sanchita storehouse. That much of lives are there in our storehouse. Okay? So then you need another method to do it. Right? So we'll look at, that's what Krishna will be talking, but we'll look at this. Now,
but in theory, there can be, if you're liberating in your last year, then there is that year.
no.
That
But how is that
birth,
possible?
that final birth.
See, the karma that is there, these are nothing but desires and intentions that are unaccounted for, right? So these are there, right? Now, these that are not, so this you can call this as unmanifest. That means when somebody, let's say somebody is crying in pain, right? The universe is the witness. Universe is always the witness. That means all the daivas are always witness to every act that is happening, right? So they witness. That means that universe takes that in. That means there is some crime that happens. Somebody is in pain. There needs to be an accountability for that action, right? That's now, it's lodged in the universe. That accountability will be according to the desires of a person who intended to cause the pain, right? When that is got, then that pain becomes his sanchita. So these are all the pains of all the people, and even the comforts and pleasures that we have, that all the people that we have caused in our life is stored here. But all of these cannot be lived in one life, because I said this is like hundreds of millions of lives, right? So what universe does is, this is unmanifest, right? This is unmanifest. Nobody knows about this. Universe manifests a part of that in the storehouse. Right? The storehouse has a lot. Like it will take some, bank account has a lot of money. It will withdraw some of that.
Who is doing that? Like, how does it
It's the universe. It's nature. Nature doing it.
Well,
Because nature is the only witness.
how does it decide how much to give in that particular
That's
life?
the natural
This is the thing.
That's
This is, everything is under assumptions, but it's such a complicated thing to pull something, put it there, and just make sure that Jiva goes to born to certain parents and
Yeah.
a certain way.
Yes.
It looks like these are all based on assumptions. You don't have any.
That's how it is, yeah. Yeah, if you call it assumption, yes. But this is how, the tradition explains different actions and the causes of actions. Right? So now these are the ones that get manifest. They get manifest from your storehouse of actions.
Well, you can't really call it something. If you look at the world, everybody's individual, everybody's different worlds. So there is a link to it. You can't just say, oh, this is...
No, you can say a karma theory should explain the realities of the world. Right? And this is how they're explaining the realities of the world. Right? So it's not 100% fate. It's not 100% human effort. All of these are combined. So this is what is explained. If it's a theory, has to explain circumstances, the reality. And this is how it's explaining it.
But there is also causality. You can see it in the real world, all this. Suppose there is somebody who is very rich, but he has a son who has got problems.
Yeah.
Physical problems. And those are why?
Yeah, this karma theory explains the whys of all those things. Basically that's what it is.
That explains. But
Yes.
there is still some meaning in it. It's not just assumption.
You're trying to explain all the misfortunes, but what is
No, I'm not explaining all. This is not only misfortune. This is all, even.
all the random causes that basically doing is.
No, there is nothing random. That's the thing. There is nothing called random cause. There is always these three causes. There is no random cause. I mean, random cause in the sense that human effort is generated by human. So you can call it free cause, but there is no random cause. There is something. Either it's caused by your previous actions or by your current efforts. There is no random cause. Right? So that which gets manifested in your life now, right? So if it's 100 million here for one or a few lives, the nature kind of takes the karma that is unaccounted for and puts into our account in terms of this guy did bad karma. Okay, this guy is going to be born in this where there's a lot of torture, and then he'll not get any education. There's a lot of grief around. All of the circumstances in which we are born, and all of those things. That is all called daiva. This is how it's getting manifested. But then there are people, no matter what the circumstance, through the effort can come up. Right? So that means their previous action is detrimental to their well-being, but their current action is fighting. Now that is what I have to explain. These three are that, right? So you understand what a prarabdha and sanchita is? What is sanchita? storehouse of all the things that you have done in the past, in sense of the intentions and the consequences that have happened. Okay? So that is sanchita. What is prarabdha? What is prarabdha karma? You know, we always say, my prarabdha karma. What is the prarabdha karma?
Whatever it is, like
Prarabdha karma is a part of the storehouse of our karma that is now manifest by the universe to give us this situation in which we are born, whether we experience pleasure, pain, grief, comfort, everything that we do not control but comes to us as a given. That is all. That's all our fate in the sense of that which we don't control.
Sanchita is the child of Prarabdha, right?
Yes.
Prarabdha.
Yeah.
So,
To make it.
would it be okay to say that when a person is born, apart from the sanchita is given to him as prarabdha, that takes it
Correct.
to this life?
Correct.
In accounting terms, that's your balance sheet and that's your profit and loss.
Exactly. Whatever profit or loss, you know, this is, see, prarabdha is not just bad, it is also good. So you don't only do bad karma, right? You do good as well as bad. So both of them are manifested, and that becomes the life of the individual and the circumstances.
On Sanchita, so you have so much you must have had in the past. So
Right.
it's like a, the product of, P1. You can take it in the first life or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So will that be having, all combined in plus minus, and you'll have one? Or it will be like plus minus for one life, plus minus for second life. It's already determined, already decided.
Yeah.
Is it already decided? So P1 for this life, P2 for...
What or that is nobody knows. That is, we want to go and read the mind of God. These are how it happens, and we can know, at least as start in tradition. Okay? So that is what is revealed. That is what gets manifested. Now, what gets manifested of our previous action comes in three ways. So that is how, I said there are hundreds of different kinds that is possible, because there are three here, three there, and if you combine all of those things, the combinations and permutations possible is a lot, right? And what is this called?
One Agami karma. Where is it?
We'll see. I have not completed that picture yet. Right? So, what is this one? First one, it's called Drida Karma. Adrida Karma. Drida Karma. What is Drida? What does Drida mean? Definite, right? That means in English, this becomes immutable, mutable, somewhat mutable, or mutable with difficulty. Immutable, mutable, mutable with difficulty. Okay, so that means your past karma that is revealing within you, right, through your circumstances and your likes, this everything, comes in three ways. Those karma comes in. What is it? Immutable means that which, whatever effort you do, you can never destroy. You will have to suffer. Experience.
Instead of suffer, we can say experience, because we don't know what's...
If somebody wants to give me $1 million, I'll not say, no, oh, it's not possible, I don't want it. It is basically for dukkha, right? Grief, I don't want this. But whatever you do not to want it, you will have to suffer. There is nothing that you can do through your effort, nothing at all, that can burn this out. This can only be burnt out through experience. That means these are karmas where somebody killed a very nice man. Somebody killed a very innocent family. All of that caused a lot of hardships and griefs to a lot of people, right? There is no way, you cannot confess. There's no concept of confession, first of all. If you look at all of these things, there's a concept of prayaschitta that is different, right? So, these are the karmas that you will have to experience no matter what, right? Nobody and nothing can change it. However amount of prayer you go and do in the temple, or go to an astrologer and put rings and all of those things, nothing can happen.
Even all this thing we do in temple, Ratham and all.
Nothing. Nothing. If it is a Drida karma. Right? What do you do? What is Ratham?
The big
Oh,
one. Yeah.
no. That can affect here, not here, right? If a person has killed a very good man, nothing you can do, right? Nothing that you can do. You have to suffer the consequences for that. Okay? Drida, that means that from the past that is coming, nothing can be done about it. That is called drida. That it has to be experienced. Nothing can be done to it. That's called drida. Adrida means that which is coming from the past, some kind of a human effort can actually burn this out. This is where your prayers, if you go to an astrologer, like gemstones or annadana, you do this, and then all this mitigation stuff that your prayers and all that you do, that comes with your adrida karma. That means these are karmas that are basically not that harsh. Bad karmas, but it was not harsh that you cannot mitigate through your actions. Right? So these are adrida karma. So any of the prayers, any of the things that you do, that takes off the hardships. Some hardships are adrida, comes from the past, but it can go away by prayers, it can go away from efforts and all of those things. That is your adrida karma. Okay? Drida karma is that which you will have to experience, but whose intensity can be mitigated through human efforts. That means, a lot of things in your efforts, the prayers, your honesty, all of those things, something big can now mitigate to something small. Right? So, these are all the things that can come from the past. Something that is immutable, that has to be suffered, something that your efforts can actually burn it out, something that can mitigate a huge thing into something small. So all of these come as Daiva. Now you can see the context of doing pujas and doing prayers and navagraha and all of those things. Where does that stand? Where does it come? Adrida and Drida. These three. This has no solution. Only solution is you have to accept it. Right? So, okay, this is the big picture here. Okay, I think I've exhausted this side. Now I have to take up this side. Okay, you are generating karma. When you generate new karma, which one is expressing? Which is the cause for your new? Okay, new karma is called agami karma. Agami karma is that which comes in the future, right? Agami.
And generates in the current life.
Yeah, that means the karma you are generating now through your intentions and actions and desires, that is, this whole thing is agami. Okay? So this is going into the storehouse here, like this.
Cycle.
Whatever you are doing now goes to your storehouse. Okay? Now, this agami karma is, what is the cause for agami karma? So particular. Agami karma can only generate through this. That means your previous actions cannot generate your future actions. Your free will, your desire only generates your future action. Right? So these are, when there is something new, it cannot be some instinctive action that you do. It has to be an intentional desire that is generated by your effort. So if you can call this free will, and it's only free will that can generate your future actions. That means only if there is an intention now, or a desire now, the action that causes it, that becomes your agami karma.
So would it balance anything out? Would it cancel out?
No, that's what I'm saying here.
No, so
This can cancel.
No.
This too.
No, so what I'm saying is, if there is an agami karma, goes back into the treasure chest,
Yeah.
does it balance anything there?
No, it is just adding.
It's just adding.
It's adding. But it is balancing in terms of this effort, right? That can destroy this and this. Yeah. Otherwise, if there is no aspect of this, there is no way you can destroy the karma. I mean, otherwise, in the Brahma Sutras it says, if man is not an agent of his action, then no karma is possible. Right? He has to desire on his own. Right? Only then something fresh is possible. Otherwise, you are a machine. What is the difference between a man and a machine? Right? It's the desire. It's the desire that we are generating, right? So that generates your future agami karma, and that can destroy your mutable and mutable with difficulty. These two, the daiva prarabdha that is coming. That means fate can also be. So now I have to. When I said fate, we can take on fate. These two aspects of it.
And you never know which one's.
You never know.
Which one
Yes,
is
yes.
fixed,
You need to be acting in systems. But there are, like, in the boat example, you are rowing the boat and a hurricane comes. Whatever you do, that's it. You can be doing it, but what this says is, it is going to drown you, no matter what you do. Right? So this is a hurricane. This is a wind blowing that, you can actually overpower it and go forward. This is a little bit, tough. But, this aspect comes in, and you can also overpower. So you can overpower these two aspects of fate. This, if it is that harsh karma that we have done before, like Hitler and all those things that we read and see on TV, that becomes the karma. Huh?
What is blame Hitler this generation?
Huh?
Blame Hitler this generation.
What kind of thing is suffering?
They are in small groups, I guess.
I mean, in essence, when you're rowing the boat, there's no worry about the hurricane. Don't worry about the hurricane. Just keep on rowing.
Rowing the boat, yeah.
It's your attitude shift by saying, okay, let me...
You cannot say, this is agami, this is my drida prarabdha, what shall I?
No, just keep on rowing.
And it says, whatever you effort, sometimes, you will have to.
You can come out of a hurricane.
So where is this common sense about
That becomes drida, right? I mean, if the power.
weather report before you go there? What is that? The Pushakara still?
No, you're trying to. If there is a drida, whatever weather report you see, whatever you do, you will have to suffer it. Yeah? So that is. So you bring a very good point. You said you can, with your effort, also go, weather through a hurricane, right? That means your hata and your pushakara are such that bad thing that you have done comes as drida. But if it comes as drida, whatever individual power you have, it will always overpower it. That means, even if you are the greatest athlete, that which comes as drida will be so that even that person cannot overpower it. It will be like, it's basically drida for you. And
It's something that you don't know. How
You
to
don't know.
extend to it, to
Yes.
extend what you've done on it. So
That is exactly what Krishna is going to say. So if I put
Carry
this
on.
here
Yeah.
and then explain to you all of those things, then we can connect what Krishna is saying to what happens here, right? And there is one more portion here that I have to put to complete this picture. So this is comprehensive karma theory. Everything in the karma theory comes here, except for one part. This, our actions, comes in three ways. What is that? This agami karma can come as these three. This is called swa, samyoga, and paraspara. Okay, now this is where is very interesting. Swa karma means what? Swa karma means that which I do directly. X killed Y. X killed Y. That means his desire here, intention, he intended to kill somebody, he acted through his body and killed Y, and that Y, universe noticed the pain and all of those things, that goes back to your Sanchita. Okay, that's his thing. Now X paid Y to kill Z. What is that? That is samyoga karma. That means that even which that you don't do directly, you also do mentally. That means I give money to somebody to go beat up or cause hardship to somebody else. It becomes, the person who beats up to somebody, it becomes their daihika karma, bodily action, because they are directly involved. It becomes my manasika karma. It is because my intention, desire was expressed through somebody. That becomes, samyoga means partnership. Actions directly, actions with partnership. Right? This is paraspara. That means that which I do to somebody, somebody do somebody, it's like the whole link, which is where karma becomes an investment. with dividends over time. Right? This is over time. That means, I'll give you an example, and you tell me how it can happen, okay? There is one person, okay? A lot of children depend on that person. And somebody killed that person. Somebody killed that person. Now the killing, we know is a swakarma, that person gets dinged for that, and that becomes sanchita and all that. What explains the suffering of the children who depended on him? And let's say he was providing them education. Now they don't have education. Because they don't have education, they go through hardships. And they, and that multiplies, generation, civilizations.
Now I have a problem there.
Yes.
So, somebody killed, but the children part, you want to put it in this guy's account. But maybe the children have their account coming from their own previous things.
What one previous things?
Prarabdha.
Yeah.
So Prarabdha is dictating
No, your Prarabdha is my Agami. When we interact, right? So, okay, this is just individual, right? So when two individuals interact, okay, there is this argument, right? When I kill somebody, wasn't it his fate? Why am I responsible? Right? That is exactly his argument, right? Correct? But you can look at this as a bank transfer. Right? So your bad karma, right? Your bad karma caused your state. Right? But when somebody did this to you, that transferred to their account, their sanchita. Right? Karma never dies in that way. Because A did something, and so now he becomes the recipient of something else. And when he receives the hardship from somebody else, his bad karma transfers to that person. So if you, for example, somebody is suffering on the street, and if you look at that person and say, oh, this guy deserved it. He must have done something in his past. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Okay. Then why? Because you did not do anything to it, that becomes transferred to you. Dereliction of duty, that becomes transferred to you. So there's nothing like, okay, it's your fault that it happened to you, yes, but the universe used somebody as an instrument to bring that action to you, and when that happens, it transfers the account from you to that person.
So,
right?
All of this, maybe it's hard for our elders to explain all of that to us.
Yes.
That's why they said, learn from your past, see no evil, hear no evil, do good to others. Right? It all comes to this.
Yeah, I mean, that is a simple way of expressing.
Yeah.
Do good karma. Yeah.
So one thing I don't understand, right, is you said that in the Sava, X kills Y.
Yes.
Okay? Now, then that goes to your Sanchita karma.
Yes.
But, let's say in the previous ones, Y had killed X. So he's just reciprocating what was done.
No. Whatever you do with an intent in this life, you will accrue karma. Okay?
It's your intention which is the important,
That's it.
right?
That means wherever your purushakara, your free will is there, it will always generate fresh karma. There is no, you do, he does, you do, he does, and that's karma is
So
rotating.
it's your intention and the severity of it.
Yeah, nothing.
It's not a linear
Yeah,
correlation.
no, it's not like
How did you know that he killed you?
Yeah, that is again. So Paraspara is the most vicious one here.
Chain reaction.
Because you don't know, some bad action of yours might have an effect through time, through generations, right? You don't know, a person got killed, but maybe there were people dependent on him, and then their lives got destroyed, and because their guys' lives got destroyed, it is a chain of effects that goes on. Who is responsible for that? That's my question to you. Is a person who did the first act responsible for all the subsequent ones or not?
Everybody's individual responsibility. Everyone's individual responsibility.
Yeah, I mean that.
You cannot pinpoint it.
Who is responsible for their daiva to be like that?
Their previous karma.
No, their previous karma, but their previous karma is just a hand of the universe, of the God. But there is an instrument here through which it is channeled
The
into
first
you.
person who started.
He gets everything?
Yeah.
He gets part of it.
Yeah, he gets part
Part of it, no.
Okay? But that's the thing. It's a diminishing kind of return, right? Again, it depends on the intent. Like, if somebody, invented nuclear device with an intent that, when I put this, civilizations will be destroyed. That timeline, all of those karma come to that person. It depends. Somebody does something without knowing what the consequences would be, has no thought, just did it. Then when that happens, that will not accrue to his paraspara karma. So paraspara karma is the one. I only gave bad example. It can be good example. You form an educational trust for to help people who cannot get education to get an education. And the person who gets an education forms his own trust and does that. What happens to those links? I mean, it's just multiplying. And you did that with intent for that multiplication to happen. Your paraspara karma is going to multiply, and it's going to give it, even though okay, that's another question. What if the person has died? Can he still accrue karma? Let's say this person is dead. He did something good, which was paraspara, and he died. Yeah?
Is Sanchita going to get accrued?
Even if the person is not there, that intent is always there in the universe, right? That intent, if the good intent was there and that is expressing in the good deeds that's happening throughout, through generations, that will give returns. So it's always, good is not only, we only talk about good and here and now, but Paraspara tells you anything, because it's all linked through time, right? Anything that you do is not just immediate effect, there is generational effect that can happen.
So in a way, I think we should maybe tell public, you're voting for a certain person, the person is bad, because you're going to get that karma from whatever he does.
Definitely, right? It's like, that means you don't have to do your things yourself. If you support somebody who is doing it, you are getting a part of that karma.
It's like royalty.
Yeah.
That was like network marketing, basically. Somebody starts it and it just rolls away.
Exactly. So this can multiply and grow exponentially your bad karma and your good karma. Right? So think about the good that can happen by a good investment in Paraspara karma.
So, you go to India or places like that, you see people in the streets and you don't do anything. So
Yeah.
is that adding to it?
Definitely.
There are some states in
And
India.
there are people who, there are people who only know the part of the story and say they are suffering because of their prarabdha karma. Is that true? That's true. But the intent that you had,
Is this
that karma is transferred to you. That means basically by not acting, you're actually creating bad karma. That is exactly what Krishna's point is. Inaction doesn't mean you're not generating action. Inaction also generates bad actions when you ought to have done something. Right? Karma means it's not just active. Passive also can generate karma. You don't have to do. Not doing will generate bad karma when you ought to have done something about it. Right? So see, that's what Krishna says in the 4th chapter. Gahana karmano gatihi. The flow of karma is very gahana, means it's very complicated. It's very deep, runs deep. It's very hard to understand how karma flows. So like you said, focus on that simple thing. Do good karma, do good karmic investments so that it can grow. Because when you look at this big picture of karma theory, you can say that other than acquiring knowledge, there is nothing that I can do with my actions and desires that can destroy my karma. Right? That is where the first question that Arjuna asks, knowledge is always greater than karma. Why are you asking me? Because Krishna is asking Arjuna to go to war where he is causing what? Civilizational destruction. Right? Why are you are saying knowledge is the greatest? Because knowledge is the one that can burn the Sanchita karma. See, not everybody have to actually experience the storehouse. Right? Once you become realized, once you become a knowledge, wisdom, wise person, that wisdom destroys all your Sanchita karma. Because the desires are gone. Once the desires are gone, Sanchita karma has nothing. Sanchita karma can act only when you have a desire in you. for something. If you don't have a desire in you for something, it cannot act. So you can destroy. But this can never be destroyed. This has to be suffered. So you can see in Puranic stories and all that. A rishi, gets wisdom and then divine vision, but he cannot leave the body and go, for mukti, because his prarabdha is tying him. So he chooses to be born in a place where he's tortured, and then he experiences all fast, and then gives it the body and goes away. Right? That is also there. A lot of stories are there in Bhagavad Purana and all those Puranas, where a person actually, the rishi, chooses to be tortured, even though he knows he has not done the bad thing. But the king's men come and they accuse him of stealing something which he has not done, and they torture him. And then he knows, because of this torture, I'm suffering all this drida karma, and once that suffering is done, he'll be cleared and he'll go. So that is also.
So in that case, he decides his prarabdha for that
No,
life.
he decides to experience it fast and get out of it.
So better way to get rid of Sanchita is do the prasara.
No, Sanchita. The best way of getting rid of Sanchita is to become
Knowledge.
acquire knowledge, because the light of knowledge destroys the darkness of Sanchita. Basically, Sanchita is nothing but desires that are there, right? And that desires can be destroyed by wisdom. So once you get wisdom, it destroys everything. But then, what about the one that you are generating now? Nishkama karma stops generation here. Wisdom destroys here. Nishkama karma stops here. No, you are free. Only by this prarabdha. Once this is done, that's it. So that's the whole solution of karma yoga that you're going to see. But once you get this picture, capture it, once you get this, then when I go back and look at all the verses and explain to you what Arjuna is saying and what Krishna is saying, then when you reconnect to this one, it becomes very, you get that, the meaning, what exactly is going on, right? That sense, you get that once you understand the big picture. So, karma theory, this is karma theory. So is it fatalistic? Are Hindus fatalistic? No? Yes? No. They are realistic. This is realism. This is how
Understand this concept.
it doesn't matter how many understand it. This is what the ancient texts have. Right? This is how the world works. This is what it says. Effort is here, fate is here, this is what you can overpower, this is what you cannot. All of these are there. Everything is captured in this.
But it's so difficult.
Okay, I think we are on time. So with this, we'll get back to Karma Yoga in the next class, and then we can understand all the next slokas of what Krishna is saying. Because then we'll hit a very important concept called yajna, and how it comes here, and we are generating this action, how to cut this off. All of these things will come with the concept of yajna. How man interacts with nature, and how nature is not a insentient but a sentient nature. The world is a living world, kind of, and there's an interaction between man and the world. All of those concepts come in the next few verses, once we do that. Okay? Any more questions on this? Or any more doubts, questions, anything? You think something you cannot?
Yes, I've got. If I can explain it, I'm really confused. First of all, being raised a Catholic has brought me a lot of negativity. But when I can see these different people, these gurus, some of them are supposed to be enlightened.
Okay.
And the last one I saw said, we went to the Vedic fire ceremony, and if you do this and do this, it'll burn all your karmas.
Right.
Now, I listened to that, and I listened to all these different people, and I end up confused.
This one is a comprehensive image, right? When somebody said that is going to burn karma, it's only going to burn those karma that is mutable, not the one that is immutable.
So if you're really confused on all this and you listen to all these different people, is it best to just shut up, meditate and pray, and just to try and do the right thing than constantly be confused and try and understand?
I would say that you need to get your source correct, first of all, because things have to be logical, rational, and explain circumstances. Right? This theory, if it doesn't explain the real world, will not make sense. Right? This is what the ancient classics have, right? And people have written a lot of, commentaries on all of these things. So there is a tradition of this, right? But people also take bits and pieces of this and talk. But when we assume these bits and pieces to be the whole thing, we get confused. Like, somebody said, you do this fire, yajna, and then your karma will be burnt. Right? In the big picture, no. It's not right. But when if she had told you that karma that could be burnt will be burnt, then that would have been correct.
Sense, yes.
Yeah. But things like this, you will have to suffer. Things like this, your efforts will help, tide over it. Things like this, you can mitigate to a large extent by a lot of efforts. But other than this, there are only two ways of burning out karma. One is experiencing it, one is through prayers. Only two. And prayers only when it is mutable. Experience for all. Once you experience karma, once you experience your bad deeds, that's burnt out. That's it. Once you experience, it's gone. But things that are not experienced, you can do that through prayers and lose it only if they are not harsh. They're not immutable.
So if they're harsh, you've got to
experience it.
So you can't be enlightened in this lifetime like
you can be enlightened. See, that's what I'm saying. You can be enlightened, but will be forced to go through those circumstances in life. Like I said, there's an example of a story of a rishi, sage, who even after he was enlightened, was accused by the soldiers of a king and tortured. And he knew that this was the immutable karma that he had to experience before he left the body. So even you cannot lose karma just by knowledge. You can lose this karma, your storehouse, right? But the karma that's already manifest in the universe, if that is something that you cannot get rid of by prayers, the only other way you can get rid of is through experience. There's no other way.
no grace or anything.
No, there's no concept of grace. No. Yeah, like for example, in Christianity you have a concept of grace, right? Whatever individual does, it does not matter because finally it's the grace of God, right? But here, you earn the grace. That's the thing, right? When you do all the sadhana and you become wise, that means you're graduated and fit for job. It's for example, like you say, everybody who is graduated do not get a job, right? But without graduation, you will not land a job. Right? So when you become wise person, you have graduated. But whether you're going to get a job is the grace. Right? So you need to graduate. You need to do that. You need to graduate. But once you're graduating, you don't put yourself into liberation. God pulls you into liberation. Right? That pulling is grace of God. But He pulls only those who have graduated. That is your effort. So both are required. Okay. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Om